So we know that Jones now is close to the action. Now remember how he reacts to a crisis in capitalism.
How's that capitalism working for you? How's that capitalism working for you this year? How is that capitalism working for you this year?
Okay, he doesn't like it, and that's the attitude. We have to look at other things because that evil capitalism isn't working out for us. Please, if you DVR'd this show, go back to the beginning 20 minutes of this show where I talk about what's coming. A lot of people probably think I'm upset about all of this, but I'm not. I didn't want people to fire Van Jones. I don't ask Van Jones to shut up. I want him to be heard loud and clear. I want places like the Center for American Progress to help fully unveil what progressivism really is. And there is no better way to do that than hire a revolutionary communist to excuse his blaming our government for the 9/11 attacks, to embrace the defense of cop killer Mumia Abu-Jamal, to snuggle up to a man who admits the Green Movement is just a step to destroy, quote, the exploitation and oppression of capitalism, I think is a fantastic thing. I don't know how much money he's making. But the fact that we can continue to be reminded of what he believes and those in the administration believe, how he's intertwined those beliefs with progressivism and this president, to me, oh, that's worth every dime he's being paid. Toyota executives were dragged into Congress today.
I am deeply sorry for any accident that Toyota drivers have experienced.
Is there any bigger waste of time than congressional hearings? Seriously. The only thing America ever learns from these hearings is which congressman or senator is the best one at hogging the camera. Don't take this the wrong way. I mean, Toyota, sticky gas pedals, really? I mean, the only problem I can think of that would be worse would be, oh, I don't know, cars that spontaneously blow up. You should be sorry. And I think they are. But if I'm not mistaken, I think Congress has, what do they call it in the legal circles? Oh, yeah, I remember. Conflict of interest. Yeah. See, this is like Shell creating some sort of kangaroo court and excoriating ExxonMobil executives on live television. They're competitors. The government now owns GM and Chrysler. And they're taking this opportunity to annihilate their competitor. They've even sicked the FBI on Toyota. I'm not kidding. The Wall Street Journal is reporting today that the FBI raided 3 Toyota suppliers yesterday. Well, why don't we just send in the ground troops? Look, Toyota screwed up, and screwed up bad. But I don't think Toyota would be in business very long if they just allowed that random acceleration feature to persist. Do you? How about we let the free market work it out? Do we really need Congress, the direct competitor of Toyota, to correct the problem? Another reason for the full-scale assault: unions. Toyota is not bogged down by the costly unions, and the unions don't like that, and neither do the new owners of GM and Chrysler. They have recently surpassed GM to become now Toyota, the largest automaker in the world. What a better way to save union jobs than by publicly slaying the new giant and hoping people will just buy a GM instead. I know Chrysler and GM have big pensions to pay for on every added car. They have to add that into the price of the car, which makes them not so competitive. Wow. Wouldn't it be amazing if everybody starts suing because Congress has just made such a huge deal out of it? Everybody starts mass lawsuits to teach Toyota a lesson. They'll probably have to add that into the price of the car, which would make them competitive. Or we could make it all go away with talking about some union stuff. Suddenly, this statement from Congress doesn't look so laughable.
And guess what this liberal would be all about? This liberal will be all about socializing. Would be about.
Yes?
Basically.
Yes?
Taking over.
Oh, boy. That's worse.
And the government running all of your companies.
Shh, quiet. Shh, inside voice. And by the way, completely unrelated news. Chrysler announced today they are recalling 355,000 minivans because of an issue with airbags. Oh, I can't wait to see those congressional hearings. America, are you ready to be talked down to again by the administration? Oh, pip, pip, and all the rest. Valerie Jarrett, she's one of the president's top advisors. She was at Harvard last week. Jarrett was asked by a very smart man in a snappy bow tie, asked her if the administration would consider drafting up some sort of a booklet on health care, you know, for dummies, including those people in the Tea Party, that riffraff that just doesn't get it. Here's what she said.
If the Obama administration and others, and I'm asking this of you, could write some much simpler booklets on housing foreclosure, of the health care bill, Wall Street collapse, whereas a typical person, including those in the Tea Party, etc., could understand the basics of it, because I feel that many of them simply don't. Do you think that is an analogy? And
I think it's an excellent analogy. I think probably hope and change were so catchy because it was really very simple, and it was something everyone understood the definition of. That's why death panels were so catchy. Everybody didn't necessarily know what it meant, but they knew it was really bad. And so I think part of what our challenge is to find a very simple way of communicating.
Yeah. I think, did anybody, I mean, she just admitted that the really super smart Obama voters who are like brains about this big, they have to carry them in luggage sometimes, extra brains for extra people. Didn't she just admit that they voted for Barack Obama because the hope and change thing was so simple? If they're so smart next election, you know what they should do? They should put up bumper stickers everywhere that says Obama, because the rich people have too much 22 cents. It's a pie joke, you see. But not a real pie, mathematical pie. Jarrett also goes on to point out that President Obama doesn't need people like this is going to, blood will shoot out of your eyes. Doesn't need people like Tea Parties, you know, to correct him. Why? Listen.
There's nobody more self-critical than President Obama. Part of the burden of being so bright is that he sees his error immediately.
Wow, he's just so bright that he sees his errors immediately. Maybe if he were a tad less smart, he could see his errors before he made them. Or does that mess up the time-space continuum? And I love this. He's just so bright, you know, that's a burden for him. Oh, yes, yes it is. It must be so hard to be so much smarter than everyone else. What a burden, having to make little coloring books for voters. Obama's brilliance includes Bill Maher. Oh, yeah, they're brothers in brilliance. Bill Maher also thinks very little of those Americans. Listen to this.
What the Democrats never understand is that Americans don't really care what position you take. Yeah. Just stick with one. Yeah. Just be strong. They're not bright enough to really understand the issues.
I wish I was bright enough to understand that, man. Americans aren't bright enough to understand the issues. They don't care about policies. So Bill Maher is saying, Shanghai them into whatever you want. Maybe you could do a nuclear option. Just jam it down their throat. Just make a decision and stick with it. They'll never know the difference. They just want somebody strong. This is so weird, Bill Maher, because I remember in history, there have been several examples of this, but this has been tried a few times. People aren't smart enough. They need somebody to take care of them. Just look and act strong, and they'll be popular. Oh, yeah. Yes, that's right. That worked out well, didn't it? Pip, pip, and all the rest. Two of the most amazing stories you will ever read about in history, because progressives tend not to mention them. The Revolutionary Debt Bomb and America's Forgotten Depression. How our founders tackled their debt bomb. And how America has come out of depressions before, just not with FDR. It ended a lot faster. You'll read about it in my free email newsletter at glennbeck.com. Also, tonight at 3 a.m., don't miss Red Eye, a 3-part interview with Ozzy Osbourne. You got to be kidding me, man. It's crazy from New York, but not America.